It was once the Chinese Navy's unparalleled floating fortress, capable of unleashing 250 rockets in a single salvo, enough firepower to suppress an entire Army rocket artillery company. Military enthusiasts hailed it as a legendary vessel born for a specific mission, yet this purpose-built heavy firepower platform, after its specialized weapon systems were modified and standardized, quietly retired from service after just 13 years. Why did it come, and why did it depart so swiftly? Today, let us delve into this chapter of history to uncover the legend and final curtain call of the Chinese Navy's sole dedicated fire support ship, the Jiujiang. Time rewinds to the late 20th and early 21st centuries. The Chinese Navy faced a series of severe challenges, particularly after the 1996 Taiwan Strait crisis. Ensuring timely, concentrated, and reliable shore-based fire support for landing forces in complex environments, especially during potential amphibious assaults, became an urgent priority. At that time, the People's Navy's amphibious projection capabilities and precision strike assets against shore targets were relatively limited. There was a shortage of large surface vessels, and effective land attack weaponry was lacking. Against the backdrop of scarce steel resources, the Navy even explored the expedient solution of mounting Army-towed howitzers directly onto civilian ship decks. However, their accuracy and adaptability in rough seas were predictably poor. Thus, developing a specialized fire support vessel capable of suppressing and destroying beach defenses, obstacles, and enemy forces during the initial amphibious assault phase became a priority. However, designing and constructing a new vessel from scratch would be time-consuming and costly, not the optimal solution given the urgent need and limited resources at the time. The Navy's attention ultimately turned to the lead ship of the Type 053H frigate class, the Jiujiang, which had been in service for over 2 decades and was approaching the mid to late stage of its operational lifespan. Commissioned in 1975, this veteran vessel offered a stable platform and familiar structure. Modifying it for specialized functions undoubtedly represented the most cost-effective choice. A transformative overhaul thus commenced. Beginning in 2002, the Jiujiang underwent the most significant transformation of its career. Its original anti-ship missile launchers and other anti-surface warfare weapons were dismantled. The freed space and deck were utilized to install an intimidating weapons system, 5 massive 50-barrel 122mm rocket launcher batteries. This enabled the Jiujiang to deliver up to 250 122mm rockets in a single salvo. To put this in perspective, a standard Type 81 122mm rocket artillery company of the Army could deliver 240 rockets in a salvo. This meant that the firepower density unleashed by a single Jiujiang in an extremely short time surpassed that of an entire Army rocket artillery company. To ensure the effectiveness of this unique naval platform, the modifications went far beyond simply adding rocket launchers. These launchers weren't merely welded onto the deck, they were rigidly integrated into the hull structure and fully incorporated into the ship's fire control system. Upon acquiring target information, the warship's fire control data is directly synchronized with the rocket artillerist's firing control system. The central command system uniformly calculates and controls the elevation angles and attitude adjustments for each launcher, significantly enhancing firing precision against shore-based stationary targets from a moving maritime platform. This overcomes the accuracy limitations inherent in earlier land-based artillery systems adapted for naval use. Additionally, to withstand the high-temperature gas wash from rocket launches, the launch deck area was specially coated with heat-resistant paint. All these features demonstrate that the Jiujiang's conversion was a systematic, professional engineering endeavor aimed at creating a highly integrated, rapid response, and fiercely potent dedicated shore attack platform. In 2005, the Jiujiang, having completed its conversion and undergone testing and standardization, formally assumed its specialized mission. In the years that followed, it became a regular participant in amphibious landing exercises. The most distinctive hallmark of its operations, the sky-darkening smoke and deafening roar of its 250 rocket tubes firing in unison, left an indelible impression on countless observers regarding the sheer scale of its firepower coverage. However, the wheels of history keep turning forward. Especially after the first decade of the 21st century, China's national defense capabilities experienced explosive growth, while the nature of warfare and operational concepts underwent rapid evolution. The tactical environment surrounding the Jiujiang-class frigate, along with its own design positioning, soon faced severe challenges. The core reason for its decommissioning primarily stemmed from the leapfrog advancement of the Chinese Navy's overall strength. Large numbers of new destroyers and frigates entered service at a rapid pace. Among them, Large destroyers like the Type 052D and Type 055 not only equipped longer range, higher precision 130mm naval guns, but also possessed powerful vertical launch systems capable of carrying land attack cruise missiles. These systems enabled precision strikes from hundreds or even thousands of kilometers away. These multi-role main battle vessels, while undertaking fleet air defense and anti-ship missions, possess land attack capabilities that far surpass those of the Jiujiang class, which required approaching within approximately 40 kilometers to deploy its unguided rockets. Some netizens have speculated that if fleet fire support were needed, the combined rapid-fire bombardment from the Ada K-130 naval guns aboard several modern-class destroyers could achieve comparable suppression effects. In other words, the Navy no longer requires a dedicated fire support vessel with limited functionality that demands special protection. Second, and most fundamentally, revolutionary changes in our military's land attack fire support systems and methods have rendered the Jiujiang's operational model high-risk and inefficient. On one hand, the Air Force and naval aviation have made significant strides. Combat bombers like the J-7 and J-16, along with armed helicopters, can carry various precision-guided munitions to deliver rapid, flexible, and accurate close air support from the air. On the other hand, and most disruptively, the Army has achieved breakthroughs in long-range rocket artillery technology. Large numbers of 300mm long-range rocket artillery systems, with ranges exceeding 150 kilometers or more, have been deployed. Equipped with either simple guidance or precision-guided warheads, their strike accuracy and destructive power far surpass those of 122mm rockets. These systems can be launched from inland positions far from the coast, directly covering target areas that traditionally required naval guns or close air support to engage. This truly enables cross-strait fire support. In contrast, the 122mm rocket artillery mounted on the Jiujiang-class frigate, even when using extended-range projectiles, has a maximum range of only about 40 kilometers. This means it must venture into the threat range of enemy, shore-based anti-ship missiles, artillery, and even air forces to be effective. In modern warfare characterized by system-on-system confrontation, deploying such a costly, uniquely modified vessel on such high-risk missions significantly diminishes its tactical cost-effectiveness. Furthermore, from a technical perspective, the role of the 122mm rocket system within the Army's medium to long-range firepower framework has evolved. While the 122mm rocket system remains a vital accompanying fire support asset for Army units due to its high cost-effectiveness and dense firepower, the Army itself does not have an urgent need for 40 km range 122mm rockets. Instead, it prefers munitions with a range and accuracy balance in the 20-30 km range. Meanwhile, the maritime launch system specially designed for the Jiujiang-class frigate has reached a state of technological maturity. As the entire combat system evolves toward networked, precision-guided, and long-range capabilities, the Jiujiang's close-range, high-density rocket salvo mode has gradually diverged from mainstream development trends. Its creation embodied the wisdom of concentrating resources to address critical shortcomings under specific historical conditions. Its decommissioning, however, was an inevitable outcome of overall military technological advancement, where its strengths no longer held uniqueness, and its weaknesses had been rectified. In 2018, the Jiujiang officially retired, concluding its 43-year service career, including precisely 13 years as a fire support ship. Its existence stands as a living monument, bearing witness to the Chinese Navy's arduous exploration, pragmatic innovation, and transformative development during that specific historical period. It answered the question of what we needed at the time, while its departure clearly signals what we possess today. From the Jiujiang's solitary path to the subsequent flourishing of diverse vessels, this trajectory epitomizes the Chinese Navy's resolute strides from near-sea defense to far-sea protection.